Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the GSMC Basketball Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. As always, I'm your host, Marif Temi. We got a packed show lined up for you guys today. Starting right off the top, we're going to talk about the playoff games last night, starting with the New York Knicks versus the Detroit Pistons, who went to war last night in Game 3 in Detroit. Detroit obviously having a long playoff drought, not having a lot of playoff success over the last 20 years or so. Finally coming back home to Detroit after winning a game in New York. That crowd was bumping. That crowd was ready to go. We're going to recap that game and everything that transpired in that one and what it really means down the line as we continue on in this series next to Game 4 on Sunday evening. From there, we're going to take a look at the Los Angeles Lakers. They have a massive Game 3 tonight in similar situations as the New York Knicks last night. Splitting their series in LA, going over to Minnesota now, going into a hostile environment. How are they going to handle it, and what can we really expect from that series as we continue on? Or what can we expect from this game? So we're going to preview everything to know about that game. From there, we're going to take a look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, who had an unbelievable comeback last night. If you guys didn't see it, coming back from 29 down at halftime, I believe. Well, a little midway, probably about 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. The Memphis Grizzlies increasing their lead over the Thunder by 29 points. And we'll talk a little bit about what happened and how the Thunder were able to secure this win and the comeback in general. And then to finish off the show, of course, we're going to do our classic predictions for the weekend. Give a little bit of previews for both tonight and the weekend slate as well in our last segment. But before I move any further, I'd like to remind you guys to please like and follow the show for more GSMC Sports Network content. Also, we get a number of questions from viewers that come in during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on air, I ask that you use the tips and donations link at gsmcpodcast.net. This puts your question at the top of the list so that I see it, and it also really helps out the show. Again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net for all your questions and comments. We're getting right into it here. I apologize for whatever reason. I'm stumbling over my words early in this morning, but it is a Friday morning to everybody. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Friday morning, and let's get right into the NBA basketball content. Starting right off the top, we're going to talk about the New York Knicks. They had a massive Game 3 last night against the Detroit Pistons, a game that honestly, either team, whoever won this game, really dictated the momentum going into Game 4 and really going into this next part of the series. Going up 2-1 is a big thing. If you can win the next game, you're automatically up 3-1, and you've pretty much stapled your way into the second round. Unless you only have to win one of the next 4 or 3 games. So you give yourself a great opportunity to get it done. But this was an unbelievable game all around. Really ping pong back and forth. The New York Knicks really taking control of the momentum early on. Something I wasn't expecting. I thought the Detroit Pistons were going to come out guns blazing, just firing on all cylinders, ready to go. Absolutely. I thought they're going to show up like they got shot out of a cannon. The second that crowd got into it, the second that ball went up in the air for the tip-off, that's what I expected. And shocking enough, it was the physicality and the play of this New York Knicks team, specifically of Karl-Anthony Towns, who had 31 points in this one. Karl-Anthony Towns that got absolutely demolished by critics after his performance in Game 2, going for 0 points in the second half, only having 10 points in that game. Something that you don't expect. A player like Karl-Anthony Towns, when you trade a player like Julius Randle to get Karl-Anthony Towns, you trade Dante DiVincenzo, you trade a lot of assets away to get a star player to couple with Jalen Brunson. You don't expect that star player to only go off for 10 points and get pretty much shut down by a rookie center, even though it is Jalen Duren, and Jalen Duren has played phenomenally this year. Karl-Anthony Towns, we expected better from in game 2. Pistons winning that game a great deal because of Jalen Duren and his play down the stretch, guarding Karl-Anthony Towns and getting easy buckets. But Karl-Anthony Towns making his presence known last night and went off for 31 points. Um, Fast forwarding later in the game, in the fourth quarter, the New York Knicks found themselves up by 9. Was it 9? It might have been all the way up. I think it was actually all the way up to 11 at one point. Found themselves all the way up to, but with an 11-point lead with under 5 minutes to play. I personally sitting there watching TV like, oh, this game's over. Why are we like? Well, the New York Knicks should win this game. I don't know what else to think. I was a little bit disappointed because I made my Pistons prediction here yesterday, but nonetheless, this is the NBA playoffs. We're not betting here. We're just picking games. We're nitpicking between teams and predicting what's going to happen between grown men going onto the court and playing the sport of basketball, which they love. And of course, the luck of the shot also plays into it as well. But with an 11-point lead with under 5 minutes to go, you really think this one's pretty much not 100% over with, but definitely looks like trending towards a New York Knicks win. Then the Detroit Pistons wake up. Pistons go on a 10-2 run over the next, well, I think actually they went on a 12-4 run over the next 3 minutes and cut the lead down to 2 points, I believe, maybe even less. It might have been a tie. No, it was 3 points. They cut the lead all the way down to 3 points with under 2 minutes to play. And that's when you start to see the eyebrows go up. Hold on now. New York Knicks going to sell another lead, something that they've been notorious for. We remember them against the Cleveland Cavaliers earlier this year. We've seen them blow leads multiple times in the NBA playoffs. We've seen them in the regular season multiple times, especially over the Tom Thibodeau era over the last 4 years. We've seen them blow a lot of leads. But this one, New York Knicks made sure not to fall into that category. The play of Mikal Bridges down the stretch, the defense of Karl-Anthony Towns, the offense, of course, the spectacular offense of Jalen Brunson, which was on display all night long. This team played team basketball down the stretch, believing in one another, and that unity is a big reason why they escaped Detroit last night with that win. Jalen Brunson also finishing with 30 points in this one. Pretty great performance. Honestly, I said my prediction was that unless Jalen Brunson or another player goes off for, say, 35 for Brunson, 25 for the other player, I don't think the Knicks are going to win this game. I thought it was either going to take a Herculean effort from Jalen Brunson with 35, 40-plus points, or it was going to take a duo. And I won't lie. Karl-Anthony Towns slipped my mind. I thought Mikal Bridges could be that guy. I thought OG Anunoby, we've seen little sparks of him, little snapshots of that number 2 Robin-esque performance from OG Anunoby in the regular season. But it was always apparently it was always Karl-Anthony Towns, and it was the last it was one of the last players in my mind that I thought would do so. I thought the defensive prowess of Jalen Duren would be too much for Karl-Anthony Towns to exploit to this level. And honestly, it's very this takes this series for another turn, really, because what do we expect now? We know Jalen Brunson is a stud who can shoot it whenever he wants. He's a shooter. We know Mikal Bridges, who's a shooter. He can get going whenever he wants. Even though he struggled a little bit this year, he's still Mikal Bridges now. He can still go off for 25 points whenever he wants. That's really what you need from the New York Knicks. You need Jalen Brunson to go for 30, 35 points and a Robin to go for 20 to 25. What you can't have is Jalen Brunson go for 40 and then the other guy go for 20 or under 20 points. Have a bunch of guys go for 15. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Having a bunch of role guys around Jalen Brunson against this Pistons team with how deep they are, with how they play defense, is not going to work down the stretch. And so that's just that. That's what we saw in this one. And major props to Karl-Anthony Towns for making it happen. It does take this series for a turn. It throws a little bit of an extra spin off in this series because it throws in another possibility. Karl-Anthony Towns, I simply was not expecting him to have a performance the way he did last night, and the way he did, It raised eyebrows. It really did. It made up for all of the mistakes that he had in game 2, made up for the blunder of a second half that he had in game 2. And his aggressiveness is what the New York Knicks need, not only to win this series, but if they want to be competitive in the next series in the second round. We'll talk a little bit more of that. We'll talk a little bit more about that when that other series becomes a little bit closer, a little bit more. We can just say, okay, honestly, I'll say it. Unless the Orlando Magic win tonight, I'm projecting the Boston Celtics to meet whoever wins this series in the second round. And Karl-Anthony Towns is going to play a big deal if the New York Knicks want to have a bottle look of a chance. Honestly, they have a good chance. They're still an incredibly talented team. I can't let my Boston Celtics fandom get in the way. Because the New York Knicks are still a great team. We got to give them credit where credit is due. And the regular season is behind them. The regular season, they may have gone 0-4 against the Boston Celtics. It is what it is. But the playoffs are a new game. No Jason Tatum, or a hobbled Jason Tatum, and Karl-Anthony Towns playing the way he did last night, the New York Knicks could still be competitive against the Boston Celtics. There is still a world that does happen. But we'll take a little bit more of an outlook in that series when we get there. I didn't really talk about the other side of this one very much so far. Cade Cunningham for the Detroit Pistons. Two players leading the way for the Detroit Pistons. Cade Cunningham and Tim Hardaway Jr. Tim Hardaway Jr. finishing with 24 points, 7 of 12 from three-point range. A big reason why they've started going on their comeback late in the fourth quarter. Dennis Schroeder also having 18. Jalen Duren with 16. Cade Cunningham as well, I glossed over. Shot 10 of 25 from the field. 24 points for him, 11 assists. Another facilitating performance from Cade Cunningham. But we need to see his shooting numbers improve because 40% from the field, he didn't shoot terribly. It's not that he shot 7 of 21 or 6 of 15. It's not those numbers. He did make double-digit field goals. But at the same time, his efficiency needs to go up, or else issues like last night can happen. The Pistons brought this game to within 2 points. The final score was 118 to 116. At one point, like I mentioned, it was actually 13 points. It was 104 to 91 midway through the fourth quarter. And the Pistons clawing their way back into this one late in the game to make it interesting. Cade Cunningham did miss a couple shots down the stretch that we normally see him make. While they were tough shots, don't get me wrong, but just just shots that we normally expect him to see him make from time to time. Even if he split, but he did not shoot very well down the stretch in that over the last 5 minutes. I believe only shooting like 1 for 5, 1 for 6 down the stretch. So we expect better from him. We know he can shoot better, and we expect him to come out in game 4 with more of a sense of urgency. And that's exactly where I want to go with this one. I'm still picking the Detroit Pistons to win game 4, to split in Detroit and come back in game 5 with a better sense of what to do next for this team. So we'll see how it goes. If it's tied up 2-2 for the next best of 3, 5, 6, and games 5, 6, and 7, it's a whole new series, and we're going to cover that when we see it. But game 4 of this series transpiring on Sunday evening, and unfortunately, I wish I could preview that series with you guys, that game with you guys, but yeah, I got the Pistons in that one, and we'll talk a little bit more on Monday with how that game ends up going. I see a chat in the chat box. Andre, Pistons need a second option so badly, man. 100%. They're one of those teams. They remind me a lot of the Orlando Magic, where they just need another guy around their star player, around their big. They have a good star player. They have a great big man. They have a great coach, a great bunch of role players. But they need another player to not only blossom with, to kind of mentor Cade Cunningham a little bit, but to also relieve some of that pressure off Cade as well. Giving another reliable scorer would help this team, would go a long way for this team. But yeah, I'm going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the Los Angeles Lakers have a massive game 3 tonight against the Minnesota Timberwolves. We're going to take a look at the keys to this one, how the Lakers can honestly kind of turn this series around after going down big and losing big in game 1. But Anthony Edwards and this Minnesota team is going to be fired up for this game in front of their home crowd for the first time, winning game one, getting beaten down in game two. They're going to come down like getting shot out of a cannon, and it's going to be up to the Los Angeles Lakers offense to be able to keep up with that surge. So I'm going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at Los Angeles Lakers basketball.